I want to take some time and share with you my story about how I was able to save enough money to attempt a through hike of the Appalachian Trail. Everybody out here has a different story, and for the most part that I've heard, nobody came into a boatload of cash to be able to do this, and everybody has sacrificed something and struggled in some way to make this happen. And so 8 years ago, I lost my husband. He died in a car accident. And that was the, I guess, turning point for me and led me to this adventure in some ways. I mean, it wasn't the only thing, but it definitely played a big role. And so at that time, he didn't have life insurance. So it's not like I came into this huge life insurance policy payout and had that to through hike. In fact, when he died, we were not in a great financial situation. And so I did not want to be a single mom, full-time worker. And I ended up selling my business, closing my business. I stopped teaching. I left all my students, my career, my house. I had to pay somebody basically to buy my house. We meaning me and my kids, were very blessed because the town kind of rallied to support us. And with their contributions, we were able to pay for services and move 500 and some miles. And it helped with the sale of the house. It helped with so many things. So for that, I am grateful. But I ended up moving in with my mom into her basement in the town that I grew up in. And that was 8 years ago. And over these past years, I have done everything that I can to put away money for this adventure. And what that meant was I lived in a basement with a partial bathroom and shared a shower, but I had to go through a garage to go use the shower. My kids lived in an unfinished basement. If you look in some of my past videos, you can see the ceiling, and they struggled with that. And I did not go back to work in a full-time job. So the last 8 years has been partial income. And I did a lot of things. Like I worked at a yoga studio, washing the floors and setting up for class so that I got free yoga classes. And then I made $6.33 a class to teach at the local Y. So I got a free Y membership. And then I just did odds and ends and had some online consulting clients that I worked with. And my yoga teacher trainings and a lot of the certifications that I did were either work study or on scholarship, or in some way I earned the opportunity to take the class. And so piecing this all together, I just didn't spend any money. My biggest bill was a grocery bill. I don't have subscriptions to Netflix or Spotify or anything other than my Garmin right now for emergency. I don't have any subscriptions. I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in forever. I don't have a new phone. I don't buy new things. I don't eat out at restaurants. I can tell you the amount of times that I've eaten out at a restaurant probably in the past, 8 years. I don't buy coffee. I make my own coffee. And sometimes my mom treats me. And other times, like on a rare occasion, that is like my big expense, is to buy myself a coffee. All of my adventures. So even when I have had some opportunities to adventure, it's because I volunteer for a women's hiking group. I do a lot of volunteering. I did volunteer. I taught free donation-based classes that were all the proceeds went to a church so that I could use the facilities to teach yoga. I volunteered at another yoga studio as they were up and coming because it kept their doors open. I volunteered at my brother's bouldering gym when he opened because he needed somebody to staff. So I spent a lot of time volunteering. What else did I do? Groceries. As I said, that's my biggest bill. But I was really lucky in that I ate all of the blueberries from my grandfather's blueberry bushes and my grandmother's apple trees. And my sister-in-laws both, well, not all of them, but two of them, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, girls, but have their own gardens. And so I would get lots of food from them and my stepmom and my mom. And so these are the ways that I made things work. And then I saved and I saved and I saved and I saved. And I said no to things, asked my kids. I didn't let them spend money that was unnecessary. I think more than save money, I just didn't spend it. And so that's how I've been able to afford this Thru-Hike. And there are a lot of stories out there like that. Thru-hikers have really made this goal, and it's not always easy, but it just shows that, you know, if it's something that you want to do, make it happen. Other ways I saved money for my Thru-Hike. I'm an avid reader. I used to buy books, and then I started an Amazon list called Book List, and I started putting any of the books that I was interested in on that list, but I wouldn't allow myself to buy them until I had read all the books that I had ever purchased in the past, because I would often buy a book and then buy another book before I read the first one. And what I found is that that list has grown to 300 or 400 books, and yet I've not bought any of them. In fact, my tastes change, and what I'm finding right now is that I get some ideas from different newsletters and things on books, and so I just downloaded Libby, and I borrow all of my books from the library and I read them digitally, and so I save money that way too. The other thing I do is delay purchasing. So I will put things that I think I need in a shopping cart, and then I wait a couple days, and sometimes I still want it, but most of the time I realize I don't need it, and so then I just delete it and save money. I also don't have an Amazon Prime account because of this delayed gratification process. I don't really feel like I need things in a couple of days. If I did, then I'd probably buy more things. So it's helpful just not to have the account. I buy a lot of things in bulk or on discount, including protein bars and things like that for hiking, but also produce. So I will buy several things in larger quantities and then process it all at once. And I'll often freeze vegetables, fruits, things like that. And so that helps me save money. And I don't have much of a social life. Often I say no to things just because I can't afford to go out to dinner or to a movie or whatever. Most of my activities are free, and most of them involve going outside and hiking somewhere, because it doesn't really cost anything to go out in the woods and hike. It does cost gas, and so to save on that, I repeat the same trails. I think if I looked at my all trails, I would find areas and places that I've hiked the same trail 100 times. But it's because it's close to my house. And I'm a minimalist when it comes to possessions. In fact, even when I'm not hiking, I don't have a large wardrobe. If the people around me paid attention, they might notice I generally wear the same outfit 2 to 3 days in a row before I wash it. And that's in real life. I just don't have that many clothes. A lot of the clothes I have, I've had for 10 years. I don't have a fashion statement. I don't even really care about fashion. So I don't wear jewelry. There's lots of ways. I don't wear makeup. I don't use personal care products. It becomes easier when you do things like that. I don't do my hair or my nails. I remember one time talking to a friend, this is years ago, and she said she spent $2,500 a year on just her hair and nails. Wow. Yep. I don't do any of that. And I don't drink. It's not that I won't drink. I can enjoy a glass of wine or even a beer occasionally, but I don't buy it. I don't, I think my luxury is that I buy coffee grounds and make coffee every morning, and I know I don't need that either. There was a time when I would buy a bottle of wine a week, and I didn't spend a ton of money, but even at $10 a bottle, that would be $40 a month on just wine. And so I don't drink. And if I do go out to dinner, if I'm invited or I do feel like I want that social activity, most of the time I'll drink water. I've also made sure to stay out of credit card debt. I have not owed any outstanding balance on a credit card for 24 years. And that saves me a lot of money. I do use a credit card. I do like the cash back stuff. So my purchases go on a credit card, but I pay that balance in full every month. And I've been doing that since I think like the late 90s. I don't plan to ever change that. And it's something that I've really encouraged my kids to do as well. Another thing to mention in regards to money is that I have some really great friends. And so even though I don't go out socially a lot and spend money in that way, I do have friends who are generous and invite me out to eat and offer to pay for my coffee and things like that. Those are the friends that view money as an energy, and they know that I might not have cash and I might not have money, but it's an energy exchange, and I offer a lot of other things that are just as valuable than money itself. And so I want to take a moment to say thanks to those friends who understand that, we do share energy and it is a give and take. And I want them to know how much I appreciate them. So I started the story of how I financed the Appalachian Trail with telling you that, my husband died. And then I didn't tell you how that affected things. And so really, it changed everything. It changed it invited me to reevaluate my values, my wants, my needs, everything that I thought was true, the world that I had created. 2 days after my husband died, my daughter celebrated her 14th birthday. 5 days after that, I lost 2 other family members. My dog killed my cat and had to rehome my dog because I had another cat and 2 young kids. And within a couple of weeks, I uprooted my kids. They lost their friends and their bedroom and their house, and I moved them 500 miles. And then in a couple of weeks, I sold my house and I moved too. And so all these things that I had that I thought were never going to go away, that I thought I needed and wanted, they were all under question at that point. And what I did was I was blessed with the opportunity to recreate my life with the things that really mattered and I really valued at that point in time. And I had my kids and I had my family to go to. I'm grateful for that. And I had enough money for food and I had shelter, and that's all that really mattered. And so knowing that all I needed were the people that I loved, food, water, shelter, it changed everything. And so, yeah, I didn't build back any of the excess, and life became really simple. And I guess a lot of that is reflected here on the trail. Life is pretty simple on trail. I've learned some things that I'll share in another video about how the trail is very similar to the real world in a lot of ways that I didn't imagine it would be. But that's how I could afford the trail, because I narrowed it down to what really mattered. And then instead of trying to find ways of making enough money to have all of these things, and I just didn't need so much. And then it worked. I'm going to post this video on the anniversary of my husband's death. And I'm doing that as an act of gratitude and also to honor him. Today I will walk for him and for all the lessons that I've learned along the way.